Hello everyone, Philip Pravda here, founder and CEO of SUITCAFE.com, and today we are going to talk about how to buy a belt, to find out your correct belt size, and how to measure that belt to make sure it's going to fit you properly, and then how to size it if you need to make it smaller or larger. Here we go. Welcome back everyone, Phil Pravda here, founder and CEO of SUITCAFE.com, and again I'm here to teach you how to size a belt, how to make sure you get the belt that's the right size for you, how to measure a belt, and then how to make it larger or smaller if you need to in the future. So we're going to start off by measuring the belt. So let's say you're a size 34 waist. For some people that's average, some people might be small, some people might be big, it doesn't matter. You could be 34, 36, 38, 40. It's all the same way to measure your belt. Now, you have to decide and you have to figure this out, and you might want to ask the company where you buy the belt this question: how do they measure their belt? So here's a belt that comes from a particular manufacturer, it doesn't matter who it is, and we need to know how they measure the belt. So on this belt, where you usually see the size on the back of the belt here, let's say it says 34. So where does that 34 start? Does it start from the first hole? Does it start from the last hole? Does it start from the edge right here of the belt buckle? Does it start from this part of the belt buckle after you actually put the belt through? Is that where you're supposed to start measuring? So how do we know how we're supposed to do this? Well, first of all, we want to look at the belt, and we want to see the belt in a way where the pin of the buckle goes into the middle hole. So this belt has 1, 2, 3, 4. This belt has 5 holes. So we try to get it towards the center for a proper fit. So on the third hole, that's right towards the center. So that means that you're going to have, one second, the third hole is right there, okay. That means that you're going to have the correct overlap on this side when you wear the belt with your jeans or your suit trousers or whatever it may be. You don't want to have too much overlap, and you don't want to have it too short. You want to have it just right. So that way, you want to make sure that this pin is in the center hole. So by saying that, we're going to measure this belt. So how do we measure? We actually don't measure from this side. We measure from the side that has the holes. So we're going to take our trusty tape measure right here. And you see, we're starting at 1. And we're going to put that 1 right up to that center hole. And then we're going to run the tape measure all along the belt until we get to the beginning of the belt buckle. Okay, so we're right here at the beginning of the belt buckle, not at the end of the buckle here, but at the beginning, and it's on 36. So this belt is a 36 size belt, and the 36-inch waist will give you the exact amount of overlap that you want when the belt is on your trousers. So that's the size of this belt. This is a 36. Now, let's say we wanted to make this belt smaller. How are we going to make it smaller? Well, some people may say, well, give me that tool that punches holes in the belt, or I'll go to my local shoemaker. The shoemaker has that tool, a hole punch. He can punch through leather, and we're going to add some more holes. Well, if we add more holes, sure, we can make the belt smaller. But then what happens? We get this really long piece of overlap that's hanging out under our jacket, or it's flipping out when we're walking around, and we don't know what to do with it. And actually, it doesn't really look right. So we don't want to have this long piece, flipping around when we add more holes to our belt. And this is a question actually that I was asked on Quora. How could I make my belt smaller without punching holes? Now, the way to do this is to make the belt shorter from this side, from the buckle side. But now you're going to say, well, how do I do it? I can't open the stitching. I don't know how it works. Well, it all depends on the type of belt you have. Now, there are some belts that are completely, totally stitched. The buckle is totally stitched in. There's no way to get the buckle out. Well, you would have to bring that belt to a shoemaker, because a shoemaker has a special tool where he can open that stitching, and he also has a special needle where he can close that stitching. Now, this particular belt has a bolt and a screw on the other side. So all you do is you hold this, you hold one side so it doesn't move, and you undo this screw with a screwdriver, and then this buckle will come off. Now, once the buckle comes off, you're basically left with just a strap of leather. And then you do the same thing. Let's say we want to make this belt 34. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the middle hole where we were before, just like this, and we're going to run our tape measure along the belt. And when we get to 34, which is over here, which is 2 inches below the belt buckle, we'll make a mark, or we'll score it with something. Maybe we'll score it with a screwdriver, maybe we'll make a little mark with our pen, maybe we have a razor blade we want to make a mark with, but we'll make a mark right there. And once we have our measurement to make our belt smaller, then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this belt buckle like I showed you with the screw, which comes off, and we're going to take a razor blade or a very sharp scissor, and we're going to cut that extra piece off the belt itself, and we'll have a little 2-inch piece that we're just going to throw away because we don't need it anymore because we've lost weight and now our waist is smaller and we're really happy. So now we have to put this belt buckle back on. Now here's where you need a specialized tool to do it, because a hole punch for a piece of paper is not going to punch a hole in a piece of leather. There is a tool that punches holes. Again, the shoemaker probably has one. I have one because I'm in the clothing business, so I have one and I sell belts. But in any event, you're going to put the buckle back on, and where your screw goes, there will be a hole because the screw is not back in yet. You will put that hole punch right above that empty hole where the screw goes, and you'll press down and you'll punch a new hole through the leather where you cut off that extra 2 inches, and then you'll be able to put the screw back in and tighten it up, and then you will have a 34-inch belt as opposed to the 36-inch belt that you had before. So just to recap a couple of very important things about measuring a belt and about how to measure a belt for yourself. You need to find out when a belt says on it, let's say again 34, that how the manufacturer is measuring that belt. Does the manufacturer measure from over here? Does the manufacturer measure from over here? Does the manufacturer use this first hole? Does the manufacturer use this last hole or the middle hole to measure 34? But I'm telling you, the best way to measure for the best fit is measure from the middle hole to this beginning of the buckle. That should be where you want your measurement to be for your waist size. Now, you want to make your belt smaller? Could you add a hole or two? Sure, you could add a hole or two, wouldn't be so terrible. But as you want to make it even smaller than that, and you're going to have too much overlap, it's always best to make it shorter from the buckle side. Now, if you have to bring it to your shoemaker, he might charge you $5 or $10. In New York City, they probably charge $10, something like that. It's not too terrible to get quite a few more uses out of your genuine leather belt. So there it is, and make sure you subscribe to this channel for more quick videos of how to do certain things and tutorials in menswear, and I hope to see you all in the next video.